Reagan Mason. I'm a senior at Lake Mary High School, and today I'm reading The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the fat end of town, where cricket grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing, excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffled moof, and on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and he tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he let down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snooze, his secret stranger hole, in his grooveless glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, from the secrets I tell for your ears alone. Slurp down the slurps, the whisper ma phone to your ear, and old onceler's whisper are not very clear. Since they have come down through a snagglery hose, he sounds as if he had small just bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swamny swans sang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored truffs on the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown bar-lutes frisking about in their bar-balloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffle fruits. From the rupulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while the splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees as such these. The touching of their truffs was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh buttery milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down truffula tree with one chop, and with great skill, and great speed, I took soft truff, and I kneaded a feed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of a trunk of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Described him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy. He spoke with a voice that was sharp and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdust sneeze, I'm the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Looked at the Lorax, I said, There's no cause for alarm. I chopped one tree, I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. The thing is a theed. The theed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but has others use. Yes, far beyond that, you could use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, or bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sit, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool need. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong. For just a minute a champ came along, and he thought that the feed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $30.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road north niche, turn left at Weedy Ha, sharp right at South Snitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting threads, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented a Lorax hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making threads 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagon, I biggered my loads. The threads I snipped out, I was shipping them forth to south, to east, to west, to north. I went right on beginning, selling more threads. I bargained my money with everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed, he sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with carefulest croak, "Onceler, you're making such a smogulous smoke. My poor swans, some swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." And said so the Lorax, "Please pardon my cough, they cannot live here, I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his wander was up, "let me say a few words about the gluppity-glub. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, and glumpity-glub a scoppity-sklop. And what did you do with the leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. Now you're glumping the pond where the humming fish hum, no more can they hum, for their gills are all gum. So I'm sending them off on their future's jury. They walk on their fins and wonderful weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary." And then I got mad, I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and blad bad bad. Where I have my rights, sir, I'm telling you. I intended to go on doing just what I do, and for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into threads, which everyone needs." And in that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickering smack on an axe of tree. Then we all heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more threads, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts and everyone all waved goodbye. They jumped into their cars and drove away under the smog-smuggered stars. Now all I had left was, 'neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad and backward glance. As he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, you'll never forget the grim look on his face when he insisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that was Lorax was left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since, I've sat here and worried through the years while building my buildings have fallen apart. I've worried about it all with all of my heart. But now says the once Lorax that you were here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to be better, it's not. So catch calls, Onceler, he let something fall. It's truffula seed, it's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seeds and truffula trees and what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. That was The Lorax by Dr. Seuss.